Welcome to Hattie Events. This is Dan. So I will save my introduction a little bit later. We'll start with the guest speakers. So, and Peter, do you want to start?
Sure. My name's Peter. I am a third-year double major in applied mathematics and data science and statistics. And I currently go to UCSB and I transferred from UC Riverside.
Okay, awesome. Ariane.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ariane. I'm a full-time software developer. I work both the research group and in industry. I graduated from UC San Diego, did a degree in computer science, and I transferred from Clovis Community College and Fresno City College.
Okay, thank you. Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm a senior computer science and data science student at University of California, Berkeley, and I transferred from De Anza College.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I have one more question. I didn't put it on the event list. Okay, it will be fun. So share with us one word of describing your college life. Peter, one word.
One word would be just fun.
Fun. Okay, that's great. Ariane?
Probably say eventful.
Eventful? That's great. And Aaron?
I'm going to have to say stressful.
That's, oh my gosh, you're at Berkeley, so that's not good. Okay, awesome. Yeah. So what I will share very briefly, my name's Dan, and you guys can LinkedIn me, and I'm the founder of Hattie, and also a co-founder for NextStream Technical Institute. We teach machine learning to younger kids, okay? And I'm not gonna go through the details. So talk about Hattie, so very briefly. Most are Hattie parents, and we have two categories of the teachers. One's very senior K-12 certified teachers. We also have coaches from, I'm gonna very quickly, from Berkeley, UC San Diego, Cornell, that provide one-on-one tutoring with us, okay? So all three of you, if in the future you're interested, Ariane is already working with us. We're gonna launch a research project that led by Ariane, but you know, both of you, yeah, we can chat privately. So we take care of our educators, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, so that's about it. I will stop sharing, and oh no, I'm gonna continue sharing. That's because of all the questions are here. Okay, and so today's topic is about transfer. Okay. So there will be different type of schools that you guys transfer from, okay? From UC to UC, which Peter has done, UC Riverside to UC Santa Barbara. From state school, I believe, Ariane, you transfer from a state school, right?
No, community college.
A community college. Okay, both of you transfer from community college. So Ariane and Aaron transfer from community college, one to UC San Diego and one to UC Berkeley. Okay, so a lot of our parents and students are interested because there are multiple reasons. One is there are perception of transfer acceptance rates is a bit higher than regular applicants, right? And the other questions, do you have to study 2 years at community college or with the school that where you're before you make that transfer, okay? So we'll start with the first question. Is it's getting into UC is very, very difficult now and more difficult. And there's perceptions that male students in STEM is very difficult, okay? So all three of you happen to be the male students. And the reason we invite you, I know I didn't really specific say the speaker has to be male Asian. So Ariane is, yeah, is part of us as well, right? You're from between where Europe and Asia is, so Afghanistan, right? Yeah. So with all said, so there's a perception about that. So I would like to find out is, it is really easier to get into top UCs. All of you are in top UCs than a regular freshman applicant. Okay, Peter?
I'd say that yes, it is more difficult to get in UC nowadays because UCs are top schools. There are more and more people applying. We got rid of the SAT requirement, so there's a lot more applicants now. And I would say that it is somewhat easier to get in as a transfer student. But it depends on different variables than when you're a freshman applicant.
Interesting. Okay. Ariane, what do you think?
In general, I'd agree. I'd say it's a little bit easier to get in as a transfer student, but I do say it depends on the student. If they're motivated in high school to take a lot of AP classes and keep their GPA up, then it'd be a good option. It might be a little bit better for straight out of high school. But college classes are a little bit like the AP classes in high school are a little bit more difficult than their college equivalent classes, just by the nature of the AP class at the end that students have to take, which kind of determines if they get credit or not. In my experience, I think community college was a slightly easier. Their statistics back it up as well.
Okay. Okay, I see. So you support what Peter said, and Aaron?
I don't have too much to follow up on what Ariane was saying. I was basically gonna say the same thing. I do think that it does depend on I guess where you are going to high school, because there are some high schools that I comparatively across the US are easier than some other high schools. So yeah, at least in my experience, I think at least my high school, my AP classes were definitely a little bit more difficult than what I thought was expected of me in community college. And I guess the transfer acceptance rate is also a little higher for transfer students, so it is easier. I guess I can address the second part of this question, which is especially for CS majors. For that in particular, I can only speak to, I guess, at least Berkeley, because I know that in Berkeley, at least you're only accepted into the College of Letters and Science, and you still have to declare computer science. Whereas I think every other school, you actually get directly accepted into computer science. And I think the rates for that are still higher, but across the board. But that's, I guess, one kind of nuance with Berkeley.
Okay, so you transferred into Latin and Science, and then you still have to take those 3 hard courses and for you to declare the major at Berkeley, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, okay, I see. Okay, so general agreement is you guys, want to do transfer. Sounds like it's good news, because community college is a little bit easier. Some high school AP is really hard. The acceptance rate is higher. Okay, so then we find out what's the catch. Okay, that's great. Okay, so so we talk about the acceptance rate. So on the CS side, I want to ask Ariane, how do you make that CS transfer to UC San Diego, because it's a capped major?
Yeah, it's the CS major at I think most UCs now. It's definitely impacted. It's a little bit tougher now than it was a couple of years back. But basically, I guess the most important part for CS is making sure that if you do attend community college, making sure that the classes you take for CS, like the programming classes, actually transfer over to the same university that you want to go to. Because I know from in my instance, my community college, the computer science courses, they only transfer to UCSD, UCLA, and some other like UC Davis. But I remember when I was applying to one other school, I think it was Santa Barbara, they wouldn't accept the classes that I took. So that's important to know, is that if you're doing CS, make sure that the classes you take can't do transfer over to the college that you're trying to apply to.
Okay, I see. So how about Peter? We talked a little bit before the meeting that through the email that you want to talk about general requirement. How many years did you stay at Riverside?
So I stayed 1 year at Riverside, and from my research, when you go to a UC, all your classes transfer over no matter what. So there won't be these, this CS class is not equivalent to this class. They will always transfer over.
Mhm.
And as a result, I guess I was able, like for more schools, I only had to take fewer classes and they all transferred.
Okay. How hard that can the entire lot of people do the same thing that you did? I know Santa Barbara, it's right next to the beach, right? So you can beat that.
Yes. I would say that going from UC to UC has its pros and cons. Because, for example, all these UC campuses, they have contracts with community colleges. So when you look at the transfers, about 90% of the transfers come from a community college. The rest of the 10% are from other UCs, but they get second priority. It's always people. So I would say that there are some pros and cons, like I said.
Okay. Okay, interesting. So there are contracts that CC is the top priority, then the regular college transfer. Okay. Got it. So do they take, so if, for example, if I attend Michigan State, can I transfer to UC second year?
Yes, you could, but that's different because it's not a UC. So you would have to do the course equivalencies and whatnot, similar to community college.
Okay. But do they take those students if I really will come?
I would say most likely no, because you're out of state and just in general, not another UC or a community college.
Okay. Okay. So the priority is community college and then other UCs. Okay. But San Diego State can still transfer into UC, right?
Yes, they
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
can.
yeah. I for some reason I remember wrong. I thought Ariane was from San Diego. No, from the Fresno State, but I was wrong. But no problem. I met students that transfer from San Diego State to UC San Diego. Yeah, got it. No problem. Okay, so now people really care about what's the course requirement. Ariane, when you're doing that transfer, what's the requirement?
Yeah, course requirements. Yeah, like I said, it depends on the school that you go to. I know like Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, Berkeley. I don't actually Berkeley not, but Santa Barbara, Los Angeles. For CS, they require physics. Because some engineering degrees are A-Bit accredited, so they require like physics and bio and things like that, as well as your CS classes. But it also depends. But I'll if I can share my screen real quick, I do have a useful tool for students. Is that okay?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah. This.
I'll make you a host, change your host, and then you can share now.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is a website that assists. I use this many times in college. So if you're going to community college, you enter the year that you want to transfer. So I went to Clovis Community College, and let's say I wanted to apply to UCLA. You would click on here. You see view the agreements, and you select your major. So let's say we do computer engineering, I guess. You view the agreement, and this is like the official guideline of what the student needs to take at community college. So you have the lower division requirements. This is mostly similar with all the colleges, but see, UCLA requires physics. And the CS classes. See, at my community college right now, there's no equivalent for this course or these courses, but these courses do transfer over. So on the right side is my courses at my community college, and on the left side is UCLA's courses. And this is the agreement they have with each UC and each community college in California. So you can, I'll leave the link in the chat, but you can just use this a lot. Every year it changes the requirements, but yeah.
Awesome, love it. Okay.
Oh, can I share one more thing? Sorry. The first question, if you guys wanted to see statistics, UC, they have their own website. It's I'll send the link as well. It's the info center here. It has all like statistics for graduate students or undergraduate students. So just quickly, if you look at undergraduate admissions, and if you wanted to compare like admissions from high school versus like our first question was, is it easier to get into from high school or Clovis Community College, or sorry, any community college? You would look at this, and then like you can look at all the statistics. So it'll load up, and then you can check like the average GPA admitted to this college from your community college. And also a useful tool would be by major. So let's say, so here, let's just say again, UCLA or something, UCLA. So this will show you all the majors at UCLA, and it'll show you all the statistics. So let's say we're applying to, let's just find it real quick. Don't know where it is, but let's just say computer science right here. So you had 1,700 applicants in 2020. So computer science at 1,700, only 76 got admitted. And then you can see the admit rate and then their average GPA. So this is a good tool to know like where you have a good shot at getting into in community college, as well as the high school. If you're in high school and they're interested in applying, I would look at this tool, but I'll send the links down below. But yeah, this really helped me a lot as well.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, I share this tool in a different seminar that we talk to show the high school, and they show for some very elite kind of selective public high school, the UC Berkeley, you know, or UCLA, the admission rates, it's going down every year. Yeah, because I think the number is more spread over more high schools rather than going gung-ho for, you know, kind of the neighborhood. We call it kind of a high property neighborhood high school. Yeah.
I mean, if you go to community college and like, yeah, definitely keep your grades up. See right here, computer science, it would be 3.93. Only 4% get admitted.
Wow.
Yeah, so it is pretty tough. It's getting tougher year by year. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Peter made a comment. Okay. So let's see what Peter says. Peter, want to say that? I would say hard. Okay.
I was just responding to a question in the chat.
Okay, got it, got it. Okay, cool. Okay, that's very good. Okay, thank you, Ariane. And I would reclaim my host, and then I would share the screen again. This is great information. And so let me see. Okay, so this question is really good for Aaron. I think we talked a little bit about it. I remember you said you only spent 1 year at community college?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, can you share your experience?
So I guess I had a lot of AP credits as well as just classes taken at community college during high school. So in general, I don't think most people have this, but at the same time, the requirements for computer science, I think with the exception of UCLA and UC Santa Barbara, where I think they have a lot of requirements that you have to take before you transfer in, most community colleges don't actually have that many requirements that you would need to take in order to transfer. So it was actually relatively easy for me to fulfill my requirements to transfer in after 1 year.
That's interesting. So now I'm going to be really straightforward, right? You don't need to answer if you don't want to answer. So why don't you just do it the first year? Because it sounds like you're a very competitive student. You say you took a lot of AP classes in high school. So what made you to make that decision to take a year at CC?
Well, if I'm being honest, it was actually just that I didn't get accepted anywhere the first time around. I think I applied to too many competitive schools and did not apply to a safety.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's good to know. So we always advise, we do college counseling. We always advise students to apply for safety. That's very good to know. Okay, I see. Oh, you made it really well, made very well. So, and the Berkeley, the catch is when you go in, you need to study hard for those 3 courses, right? To be declared, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, awesome. Okay, that's great. And then we talk about, does UC only look at? Okay, so now the transfer is UC application from transfer is holistic, or it's only based on the grades? Do you have to write essays, and do you to fill out the same application like as a freshman?
I'm not entirely sure, but in my opinion, I think they focus more on what major you want and what GPA you have. Because in the time you go from high school to 2 years as community college or 1 year, there's not really much you can do, I guess, in terms of extracurriculars.
Okay, so for transfer, extracurricular doesn't really matter. How about essays? Do do you still have to write those 4 personal statements, or they don't really matter?
You have to write 3, and there is 1 required question.
Okay, okay. What's your gut feeling? I know. Do you think those are important, or they don't read them? They look at
I
it.
think when I applied, it didn't really matter because of COVID. So there was not much I could do to write. I could not really get many new experiences to write about. So I kind of had to stick with limited information and write about that.
Okay, okay, I see. Any additional comments from Aryan and Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I think my situation might be different. I personally believe it does help a little bit in certain scenarios where, let's say your GPA originally at community college was low, um, and and the end you started becoming more of uh, a good student, I guess. Started focusing more, and your GPA increased at the end. The questions that you answer, you have a platform now to explain why you're more motivated now, and I think admissions they really took that into account. From what I was talking to other people as well, they said, I didn't do good early on, but later on towards college, I got matured. I started studying more. I just wrote in my application why, and then maybe like you chose a different major and you just become more passionate about it and you start studying harder. And so now the essays that you write, or maybe even like side projects. If you're doing CS, if you want to make like an app or like a program, some robots, it's definitely a good opportunity to show your curiosity and motivation to study. But I definitely say GPA is probably the most important factor.
Okay, okay. So, okay, now talking about GPA, Aaron, what was your GPA at CC for you to get into Berkeley?
I had a 4.0.
Okay, that means you can't make any mistakes. Like you have to get the 4.0, right?
I'm not sure if you like needed to get 4.0 because I know some transfer students who also did not get 4.0s when they transferred, but it Berkeley is a very selective school, so you would kind of need to have a very high GPA.
Okay, okay. Does that apply to Peter and Ariane during your experience? You need to get really good GPA?
It depends on the school. There's also a tag program. If people want to know about that, where you're guaranteed admission into the UC if you have a certain GPA. And like I think UC Davis at my time when I was like if I applied there, it was a 3.3 GPA. You would be guaranteed admission into a specific major. But yeah, if you're aiming for the top UCs, UCLA, Berkeley, then you want to keep it really high up there.
Okay, okay. I see. Peter?
I had a 4.0 when I transferred,
Mhm.
but I'm not entirely sure because I came from UC to UC, and Aryan showed those resources where you can see, which community college, what GPA, whatnot. For me, I was in the dark. I had no clue what I needed, so I just did my best and transferred.
Okay, I see. So do you guys feel the pressure when you're in the school that you're transferring from, like you're in CC or Riverside? Do you feel the pressure of keeping up your GPA?
Are you saying when I transferred, do I feel like I need
Oh,
to get my?
did you when you were studying at Riverside,
Mhm.
of course, when you get in, you want to transfer, or did you make a decision later?
I wanted to transfer,
Yeah.
so I took it as soon as I got it.
Got it, got it, got it. So what my questions, did you guys feel the pressure because you really need to keep up your GPA?
No, not really. It's just
Okay,
you do what you do, and if you get a good grade, you get a good grade.
okay, okay, that's good. Aria and Aaron, how did you feel?
I mean, yeah, community college is not that much pressure. I feel like most people are more mature at that point and just to study more compared to high school, where AP classes are a little bit more pressure keeping up. But yeah, in my situation, it's not a lot of pressure.
Okay, Aaron.
It was kind of the same as Ariane for me. I kind of I did want to, of course, keep a high GPA, but in terms of the difficulty and the workload, it was not as hard as I thought it would, or not as hard as I'd expected to be. So while there was pressure to, I guess, keep a high GPA, the difficulty wise, that's a different story.
Okay, okay, I see. Well, that's great. So it sounds like a high acceptance rate. The academics not extremely hard. So why don't everybody do the transfer?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the situation. Finances come into play. I mean, if you already got accepted and you were aiming for, I guess you already got accepted straight out of high school and you're aiming for that college, then there's no there's no good idea to transfer, I guess, at that point. You probably should take that opportunity. But yeah, it just depends on everyone's personal situation, I guess. Everyone shouldn't transfer, everyone should. Like, there's no, I don't think it's just one definitive statement on that.
Okay, okay. So the story is basically, by this time I understand that if you did not get into a top school, that there's a second chance, right? You don't have to be too stressed about it, right? Like Aaron, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, that's how I read it. So basically I'm not trying to to sell just the transfer is a great story, but it's a great experience. I'm just trying to tell the students, because a lot of students are under a lot of pressure, and I feel for them. I do alumni interview for Cornell, and this week is back to back all interview. The students are they're stressed. It's a stressful time, so, but I just want to say, it sounds like there is a second opportunity, that if you do not get into the design school, this is an alternative way that you can pursue. Okay, very good. Okay, so we talk about the grades, and okay, so now this is going to be a little bit of personal. Okay, it's about college life, right? So people go into four-year college, sometimes not really about what they are studying. It's really a setting that transition from the childhood to adult. You have a little bit of independent, not really, your parents still paying, a lot of the parents still paying for some of the expenses. So do you feel that you have missed your initial college life, that that you would have obtained as a regular freshman? So I will start with Aaron.
Yeah, I think that is kind of one of the downsides of being a transfer, is that you don't get to kind of experience the college life especially for, I guess, I think probably all of us, all the transfers, because I transferred in during COVID, so that in itself already kind of, I guess, weakened the experience because everything was online. But I guess going back to, I guess, the kind of almost the weighing the benefits of transferring or whether or not to transfer, finances do come into play, but I think it's also a matter of, if you don't really know what you want to do after college, or what you want to even do during college, community college is a very nice way to just kind of discover what you want to do without having too much of a risk. And but if you do know kind of like exactly what you want to do, then almost going to a 4-year is probably a better choice, in my opinion.
I see, I see. So when you transfer in, I mean, of course it's COVID, but now are you on campus, right? Do you get a chance, the moment you landed in Berkeley, do you get a chance to hang out and make new friends there?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, okay. So do they put the transfer students together in one dorm, or they mixed with others? You get a dorm experience, right?
So I guess that was one of the downsides of me transferring during COVID. I would have been guaranteed housing for my junior year,
Okay.
but unfortunately, because of COVID, I didn't stay on campus during that year, so I didn't get that experience, but it would have existed if I had, I guess, transferred during a non-COVID year.
Okay, so one more question. Do they mix you up with the freshmen, or all the transfer are going to be hanging out together in the dorm arrangement?
So I guess I can kind of speak to it, at least in how it is at Berkeley. I'm assuming it's the same at other schools, but uh, it is a mix of students, so it isn't just only transfers. But I do know that for at least other schools, Berkeley is kind of unique because our housing situation is very terrible here. But in other schools, I know that you're actually guaranteed housing for I think probably a semester or two or a few quarters, and that's kind of a difference.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so Ariane, what's your transfer experience in terms of college life?
Yeah, Aaron kind of said it well. I mean, you do miss the first 2 years in transfer. You miss a little bit of social interaction. Although one perk, I guess, of going to community college, the professors you get to know a little bit more like closely because the class sizes are smaller. But that's just a small aspect. But like as far as when I transferred to UC San Diego, I remember there was like a transfer orientation. We meet a lot of people there. Um, you get like as soon as you get there, you kind of get integrated pretty quickly. Meet a lot of new people. Class sizes are huge, obviously, but yeah, I mean, I wasn't the most studious. I did live off campus, but UC definitely gives you a added advantage for that compared to community college.
Okay, that's great. And Peter, or you were on campus at Riverside. What's the experience transferring into Santa Barbara?
I actually did not go on campus on Riverside because of COVID, so it was online for me. But in my experience, it's pretty similar to what Aaron and Aryan said. There's a transfer orientation, people are mixed, but for me, it was more familiar because I already went to a UC. So I know one of the biggest changes between community college and UC is going from semester to quarter, which a lot of people were worried about the pace, but I was already kind of used to that pace. Another thing is that at least in Santa Barbara, when you transfer, you're guaranteed 2 years of housing, like the university in the university-owned apartments, so you don't have to worry about that at all. And another thing is Santa Barbara, they did a study, and according to the study, most transfers in their first quarter, like when they transfer, they usually fail that quarter. They do really bad. Their GPA just dips horribly. So there are courses designed specifically for only transfer students where you get to have an advisor, you get upper division credit, and you get to meet other transfers as well in the form of community.
Okay, Peter, you can say now.
That was about it. I put it there.
Yeah. Okay, I see. Okay, so so did you get to stay in Santa Barbara in the dorm for a couple years?
No, I was not able to. I went straight to an apartment.
Okay, okay, I see. Okay, so relate to the college life, there are another question. So this is going to be probably a little bit sensitive about diversity. Do you feel that it's more diverse or less diverse for the transfer versus the regular freshman? Aaron, maybe. Aaron.
I guess for me at least, coming from the transferring in, I think at least in my experience, it kind of felt like the transfer community was very diverse. I think during my orientation, at least, we had like every mix of gender, race, everything I could, I guess, imagine. So I can't really speak to, I guess, how it is for as a freshman, but at least as a transfer, the community there felt at least very, very diverse.
Okay, I see. Aaron, you have anything to add?
I mean, yeah, I guess it does. I mean, it maybe depends on like the area or college you go to, but I mean, San Diego was pretty diverse. UC San Diego was very diverse, I think, with different races and gender and things like that. That's what I noticed about it. Community college maybe less so. I'm not really sure. It depends on the area, but Yeah, UC was very diverse.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so now we're getting closer to the 45 minutes mark. It's about advice for high school students, transfer or not transfer. So I want to start with Peter because you said, I'm not sure before you got into Riverside, you said you already want to do transfer. Did you know that the UC had the contracts for the CC more than the in between? So it's, you know,
Yes.
if, yeah, so why would I go to Riverside? It's more expensive. Why, you know, I would just go
Okay.
to CC. So that's a question for you.
Okay, so the biggest reason it's a little sad and personal is because out of high school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I liked economics, computer science, math. I wanted to maybe try nursing. There were so many things I wanted to do. So I wanted to just go to community college and figure it out.
Okay.
However, my parents would not let me. They told me that if you don't go to a UC, because I got accepted into a bunch of them, that they would not financially support me for the rest of my life.
Oh,
It's a little sad, but you have to make do with what you got. So I just chose Riverside because it is I guess in general terms, somewhat easier school to be at. But also it makes more sense to transfer from Riverside to LA or Berkeley because they're top colleges than if you go to Berkeley and you say you want to transfer out of Berkeley. It doesn't make much sense. You're at a top school with a lot of resources and good academics. There's no real reason to transfer. So you might get denied.
oh, okay. Okay. I got it. Okay. So yeah, this is the first time I knew that the contract's more with the CC than the UC. Okay, that's very good to know. Okay, thanks for your sharing. So, and Aaron, any advice?
Yeah, I mean, like Peter said, you definitely. I think the first advice I would give is find out what you want to study first, and then look at the colleges. Maybe that's how I would approach it. So, like, if I wanted to study like computer engineering and maybe I was passionate about that, then I would look at the colleges. And then I would like see what maybe departments, how the faculty is, what projects are they working on, maybe the coursework, things like that. So I'd probably say figure out what you want to study first a little bit. It's hard, I know, but just try and do as much research as you can. And also just I guess follow your gut feeling. But yeah, just definitely again, the most important part is definitely do your research. If you're doing, I guess this is for engineering students. If you plan on doing engineering, maybe uh, look at ABET accreditation. That's a huge thing. You just have to do research on your own field, but for engineering, make sure it's ABET accredited. That can open a lot of doors down the line. Like, say for instance, you graduate from engineering and you don't want to end up as an engineer. You to let's say you wanted to do patent law, which is a great field. To qualify for the patent bar, they require an ABET engineering degree. So it opens a lot of doors. You don't want to limit yourself in that regard. Also, like, just yeah, just mostly just figure out what kind of your personality and then the field that you kind of want to go to. And also one last tip, I guess, when you do get to college, get familiar with your professors, even if, regardless if you go to community college or UC, because definitely you never know if you want to go back to graduate school. Even if right now you're saying, "Oh, I won't go to graduate school," but just keep that option open. Get to know them, go to the office hours. You might get some letters of recommendation as well. They might have some contacts for jobs down the line. So always keep your options open, and then just do your research. But yeah, I wouldn't stress over it.
Okay, okay. So it sounds like you're saying that if you really don't know what you want to do, you know, CC is a good option, right? Just to trying to figure out what you want to do. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
okay, yeah, good. And Aaron, any advice?
Yeah, so I guess following up on that, if you don't know what you want to do, then CC is definitely a better choice. Because if you're, I guess if you're spending like, I guess a year in, I guess perhaps Peter could speak to this, but if you're spending a year in Riverside, then you're probably paying, I think you're paying like probably around 5K per quarter. And for me at least, when I was at CC, my tuition was free. So I think that is one advantage as well, is that I think for at least my community college, um, it was free for 2 years, which is how the time that typically most people spend in tuition wise. So I basically got free tuition for the year that I spent and got to explore what I kind of wanted to do. But I guess speaking to I guess high schoolers, if you don't know what you want to do, CC is definitely a better choice to kind of explore the different options. But if you do know what you want to do, then kind of I think state schools have more resources to support you through your career. And I guess a trick that I like to tell is that if you don't know what you want to do, then I guess for me at least, I like taking a data science approach, which is that every time you're in class and you kind of go, oh, you have an oh moment, I'll call it, then write it down and see if you find a pattern.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That means the more O's, the more you don't like it or you dislike it, like, right? Or the more you like it, doesn't matter.
Kind of doesn't matter, but I think the oh moment kind of speaks to like, oh, I find this interesting, that
Okay.
sort of feeling.
Okay, I see. So in this way, it sounds like you are deciding your own future. Not everybody, right? Some parents have their requirements. So you're saying that if the students want to go to CC, the parents should be okay with it? Your parents were okay with it?
Well, my parents were okay with that, but I think that if your child's success means a lot to you, then letting your child go to a community college is definitely a good option, because as Ariane was mentioning earlier, you have the tag program, which guarantees acceptance into a UC college later on. And at that point, nobody really cares that you transferred from a community college at that point, and they're just going to look that you graduated from UCI or something like that. So I would say that CC has that benefit.
Okay, so can you guys elaborate a little bit about the tech program? That do I have to be the first generation students, and what's the requirements on the tag?
I don't think there's a requirement for being first generation. It's just at the time of your application, you must have like a certain GPA. Depends on the college. I mean, I can actually share the link and later on, but it'll show you like a diagram of if you wanted to transfer. UC Berkeley, UCLA, and UC San Diego are the three schools that don't have a tag program, unfortunately. But the other UCs do have a tag program. UCI is like 3.4, but they're not all majors are accepted. Like computer science is impacted now, so they don't accept it for the tag program. But I'll send the link down this chat. But yeah.
Okay, that's really good to know. Okay, so yeah, so as I want to share with you guys, I was a transfer student completely in a different setting environment. Okay, I transferred from Michigan. I'm wearing a Michigan. The camera? Let's see, I'm right. So I transferred from Michigan to Cornell, and at Cornell, I stayed in the co-op, and a good percentage, I don't know, 4 or 5 out of the 35 students, undergraduate students, were transfer students from different colleges, and some are from community colleges into the third year into Cornell. So I just want to let you guys know, most people think of Ivy League, it's like, okay, we're talking about UC, and Cornell's Ivy League is not possible. Cornell acceptance rate for transfer is over 17%. Okay, and last year Cornell's acceptance rate in San Diego area, okay, that's not apple to apple, it's less than 5%. Okay, overall 2021 was like overall it's 8% below 10. So in some way, sounds like from the number point of view, it's a little bit easier. So I just want to share with all of you. You guys can look into the options and regarding transferring into Cornell. It might be a little bit easier for in-state in New York, because Cornell has 3 public endowment, means the money the land is coming from state of New York, which is life science, the ag schools, HUMAC schools, and industrial labor college. There's 3 of them, IRR. So those 3 colleges might be the transfer a little bit easier. I haven't really, gone through all the statistics. So if the students are from New York, I think some parents are from there. And if they want to attend Cornell, they can also do a transfer. Okay, so that's my personal experience I want to share with you guys. And however, it just like, all of you said, yes, right now you already made it. It sounds a bit easier. When I did that transfer, I was in Michigan. That requirements for me to get a top grades, it was stressful. Okay. So I just want to, now I looking back in my life, like, why should I sweat through my life in Ann Arbor? It was a great life, but it was not. It was very, very stressful. Okay. So, and a little bit of different situation. I didn't have anybody I can depend on financially in the States. Okay. And, so now looking back, it's all good, but I just want to give advice to students that they chose the CC and they're like, oh my gosh, I got a B plus 89. It could be stressful. This, because I do hear from community college students and very stressed out because he did not get a full GPA for 4.0 and want to transfer into top UCs. So I want to give that kind of the perspective to all the students and the parents. And when we made it, I look back, I'm like, oh, this is great. I was great transfer student. I made it, right? So, but when you are in that situation and not everybody handles the stress really well, some students like, okay, they do interview really well. They do test prep really well when they're not in the testing room. But the moment they go in the real interview and real SAT, the situation is different. So I want all the parents and students to really think about, especially students, to know themselves is how they handle the pressure. Okay. So I think there are a lot of questions that students have to ask themselves in addition to financial situation. Okay. The financial is like, I have to go to community college. That's a different issue, but a lot of students here are not. They need to do soul search and just not say, okay, because the rate is high, I want to go easy route. I can flunk through, high school. That's okay. I have a second choice. I think that's, by talking with you guys, I hope you guys agree with me, right? It's not, it have to look at a whole picture and to get to know yourself, understand it could be stressful as a transfer student. Okay, that sounds good. We're going to open up a question. Charlotte, you have a question? I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah. Any question? Charlotte, go ahead. Yeah. You want to turn on your camera or you're muted, you're waving. So I'm not sure. Any other questions? We have Charlotte raising hands. No questions at all? We have 3 of you. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. So
Angel.
for example, if transfer students going to like a 3rd year, right, in Berkeley or San Diego, how can they find an intern that fast? What I meant is that unlike locals, I mean, there are 2 years already in that. Maybe they have more chance to prepare for those things.
Or internship, right?
Yes, right.
Okay, so out of 3 of you, have all of you got an internship, or you guys? Yeah, I mean, Arian, maybe. You already are working. So Arian, I'll let you answer the question.
Yeah, I mean, most companies are selective, or they don't really hire a lot of freshmen and sophomores. But I think junior year is the time when you should be looking for internships in CS, at least in my case. That's when a lot of people start going to career fairs and looking at internships. And that's when most companies start hiring anyway. So I don't think you're at a disadvantage if you transfer your junior year. That's when I got my internship in junior year. And I ended up getting a job offer from them as well. So definitely 3rd year is probably a good time.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So one thing I want to get you guys to understand, when you graduate from those schools, people just look at your last degree. Nobody really asks you where you did the 1st year or 2nd year, and nobody really care. Okay. The degree, UC Berkeley degree, is a UC Berkeley degree, or UC San Diego. When I present my degree, I present the last degree. I even don't have to talk about the degree before if I didn't really get a degree from Michigan. Okay. So all I'm saying, that's something that you guys really need to understand. The final school, it's the final degree. Okay. And then Ariane was absolutely right that first year, even you're from Berkeley, you got into both of my children at Berkeley study computer science. My son's a freshman. And I asked him, what are you going to do? He doesn't know. He said, oh, I may come back just squatting in the house back to San Diego. He did not get an internship yet. A lot of his friends are trying to get an interview. Probably the chance is very low for fully paid internship. Okay. So then when you get a transfer, your junior, you are from UC San Diego or UC Santa Barbara, whatever. And then you guys are treated the same. Okay. So I completely back up what Ariane said. So if the parents here, a lot of us are very competitive, right? If my son is at UC Berkeley second year, sophomore, they're not getting a good internship, just don't worry. It's a standard. Same for Cornell. It's the same thing. We have coaches that coaching with us. The parents are really, pushing for a full intern during the summer, freshman or sophomore. It's very challenging. Okay. And Aaron, do you want to share the internship?
So I actually didn't get an internship, I guess. I guess during my college years, I actually got internships when I was in high school because I was already relatively familiar with computer science. So that's when I did it. So I can't really speak to, I guess, getting an internship as a Berkeley student, although I am searching for one right now.
Okay, I see. And Peter?
So yeah, since I'm a third year, I'm looking for internships, and I agree with what you and Arian said. Right now, I'm currently in round 3 or 4 with a lot of companies. So what I'm looking for is an actuarial intern. So I've heard back from United Health Group, Ernst & Young for financial and such like that. And that's about where I am with internships.
That's great. That's great. So you don't feel you're at any disadvantage just because you're the 1 year at Riverside, right?
No, you just got to show the companies that you're willing to work hard and that they're the guy you want.
Okay, that's great. Okay, sounds good. Okay, this is a great question. Any other questions?
I have a question for Ariane. So how did you get the internship from Amazon? You just submit your resume online or you go to the school job fair?
Yeah, Amazon, they did come to UC San Diego, and I still get like recruiters contact me like weekly from Amazon. But to get an internship, yeah, you don't really want to apply online. I wouldn't recommend it because they get a lot of applications. But definitely career fairs is definitely the best. I do know someone that got hired directly at the career fair from Amazon at our school for an internship. Online, I guess if you have no other options, but do know that you're competing with thousands of people. If you can meet a recruiter or contact a recruiter on LinkedIn or just face to face, that's the best option.
Yes, thank you. So when is the job fair you just went?
When?
When, yeah.
At my school, UC San Diego, they had it twice a year. I think it was winter and fall, or maybe it was winter and spring, but there's 2 career fairs. A lot of companies come. You interview. Sometimes if they like you a lot, they'll interview on the spot. And that's how like most kids get internships at college. I'm not sure how in other schools though. But.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
I kind of missed the question number 5. Does UC only look at the grades in the CS state years? Does the high school GPA matters? And if so, how much?
For transfer?
Yeah.
I don't think they look at high school GPA for transferring from community college. I don't remember them asking me for my GPA in high school. Yeah, it's just mostly college at that point. You kind of start fresh.
What about the activities?
Sorry?
What about the activities during the community college years? Does that weight in the transfer application?
It definitely, I would say, in my opinion, it definitely helps. Although you don't want to like lower your GPA just to do the activity. You want to keep your GPA up high. That's the first priority, I would say. And then if you have time for activities like maybe an internship or something like making a project at home, just to show that would definitely help in the application. You can talk about it, and the admissions, they'll see that you're like passionate about this field and they'll accept you. But Peter and Aaron can share their experience on that as well.
Thank you very much. That answers my question.
Okay, yeah, we have the recording and you guys can, Grace, you can rewind a little bit later. Okay, so any other questions? This is all good, it's complete? Okay, so I guess, we will hold regular events. It's not going to be just once a week or twice a week. When we think of a good topic, we'll share with our students and parents and also our teachers. And next event, not necessarily next event. One event we're thinking of, it's for medical school. We talk a lot about, CS, and it's very CS STEM oriented, but the bioscience, life science, we will hold an event. So if parents are working in that industry, want to share, with our students and other parents, you're very welcome to contact us at hello@hattie.com. We're probably also going to invite doctors or students in the medical school to share, just to tell you guys how hard it is to be a doctor. So I'm not trying to scare, because I know a lot of parents wanted their kids to be a doctor. We want to share some reality about being a doctor. So if some of you are doctors, when willing to share with us, yeah, please contact us. So anyway.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yes.
Yeah, so there are many community colleges over there. So which one you choose? After your high school. So, are you choose only local one, or how you prefer to which one versus the other?
Yeah, mostly most students choose a local one, but again, you do want to look at the requirements for the university that you want to go to and transfer to. Make sure that the classes that at your local community college do transfer over to the university you want to go to. If they don't, you might have to go to a different community college. Like in my case, I had to drive a little bit further, like 15 miles away to my community college, because some of my classes didn't transfer over. But yeah, I'd say most kids do local, but again, check the requirements.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's natural to do local because also cost of living as well, especially in California, right? Because if you don't do local, you need to get a job, pay the rent, and a lot of stuff going to come up with, and plus the pressure of getting the GPA. So I personally believe most students stay at home and for community college. Aaron, is that the case for you?
Yeah, so I just kind of chose my local community college because it wasn't exactly the closest, but it was the one that would allow me to fulfill my requirements. I guess the quickest, as well as they actually had classes that transferred. So that's more or less why I chose that community college.
I see. Do you mind typing in the chat to everybody your community college name?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's in Bay Area. Are you in Bay Area?
Yes, in the South Bay.
Yeah. That's what I remember. Okay, that's good.
I have a quick follow-up question.
Yeah, go ahead.
To that. So will one community college has higher acceptance rate than other one? Like, will there be differences on the acceptance rate by different community college?
I believe community college doesn't. I think they don't like. I think they all accept you if you're community California. Aaron,
yes. Sorry, I'm more talking about getting acceptance to the UC.
Oh, okay, yeah, gotcha. Sorry about that. You can check the link in the chat. I did link it above, but it's like it'll show you from your community college and the university that you're transferring to what the admitted GPA is for your community college. It's different for some community colleges, surprisingly. It's not all sometimes the same, but definitely check that link out above. I'm not sure if I can pin it or not, but
Yeah, we will also put that information on our event. So we'll copy paste it. So if you go to Hattie event, we'll just say, hey, here's some suggestions from our speakers, and we'll put the resource there. And later on, we'll also do a summary blog of what we discussed, and the YouTube will be up running. Yeah, sounds good. Good. So the link that Aran shared was very, very good, very resourceful. Yeah. So some of the parents might have missed it. Any other questions? Okay, that's good. Okay, we're 3 minutes over. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Ariane. Thank you, Aaron. So I just want to make an advertisement for Ariane. Ariane is our coach at Hattie, and he teaches computer science, even though he has a full-time job. He loves teaching and loves working with young students, wants to give back to the community. And so I asked him, and another senior engineer at Qualcomm, also making good salary at Qualcomm, but also wants to teach. So both of them are collaborating. We're coming up with some STEM research project. They will either lead or co-lead younger students to come up with some project or some research project or actual workable, develop an app or some device. So we're discussing that. And once that project is available, we'll put on Hattie. And hopefully if you guys have younger students in high school or middle school, you're welcome to sign up for Ariane's research project. So anyway, and Peter and Aaron, and very good luck with your internship searching, but we have quite a few UC Berkeley students, enrolled students, lower division and higher division UCSD. We do not have a coach from UC Santa Barbara yet. So if you're interested in working with students on math, stats, you have an opportunity with us, okay? So, and we can chat offline. And we pretty much, most of the proceeds we collect from the parents are paid to our teachers. We take care of our teachers. And pretty much we, for our one-on-one coaching, I'm very proud to say almost 100% when the student meet with you for one-on-one consultation for the first 30 minutes, most of them, almost 100% of them, they would want to learn from you and they will purchase a 10-class package. So that's how good our quality is for the Hattie educators, okay? So anyway, really appreciate your time and appreciate your friends, and they're all introduced by the Hattie coaches, the Andrews and Coach RD. So thank you so much. Thank you, Ariane, and all of you. And thank parents on a very busy Thursday night. And your students are still enrolled in school, have a lot of homework. Thank you. And we'll end the session right now, okay? Really appreciate your support. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.